Dev, great to see you. You know, the last time I saw news on F3 was back in February, putting together a land purchase, I think it was, near your Patterson Lake North. Tell me about that deal first.
Well, my technical team, that I have a lot of respect for, the same team that's made three discoveries, came to me and said, "We've got land that's being sandwiched by Canalaska, and they've got land that's stuck between our property. We wanted that whole block straight down past Triple R's here. We just wanted that whole chunk of land." And it was there. So we just did a swap. We're going to be doing some work on that property this summer, but we just wanted a complete control of that whole basin. And obviously, the recent news with Paladin and stuff shows how valuable that part of the world is. That the Athabasca is the place to be, but in all the world, because of grade and politics. And politics, obviously, as you see, it becomes more and more important. But you want the west side of the basin is where the action is. Whether it's Arrow, which is the biggest high grade undeveloped asset. Next to it is Triple R, and so that we want to we want to be in the right location, as they would say. And then so we just did a swap with our friends over there at Canalaska, and it's been fantastic.
Okay, so then the highlight, if you will, or the work that was done in 2023 was your airborne EM and your ground EM and so on. But I guess I want to find out what happened over the winter. Talk to me about the winter drill
Sure.
program and how you did.
Well, yeah. Well, like we just announced last week or a couple weeks ago, we've hit another high. We hit another big, beautiful hole in the JR zone. The JR zone sits on the A1 conductor at the very top, and what we've been trying to do is go down there and test what's along A1. As you know, uranium deposits tend to be like pearls on a necklace. If you look at Triple R, that's what it is. It's just blobs of uranium on a line. Whereas, and we've also another conductor that's kind of parallel, but it's got some kinks to it. B1. So over the winter, we've been investigating what goes down on A1 and B1, but also with A1. So that's been our winter program. Right now it's a beautiful, beautiful zone. The JR zone is unbelievable. The high grade. More importantly, when it comes, and I'm biased, obviously, but JR zone is easily the best exploration project in the basin if grade and depth matter. Meaning, like, there are other projects that are further down 800 meters. We're at about 200. It starts at 150, but the uranium starts kicking around 200. So we've got that, and we're averaging over 2.5%. We had, grades up to 60%, half meter chunks. So it's a great area, but we know we're trying to prove to the investment world that it's a system, not one trick pony. And so we feel the boron, the mineralization, the chemistry. There are certain boxes we try to tick. When we uranium drilling is very expensive in the Athabasca, so we try to like you say, do airborne and various other techniques to narrow down or vector in. But you got to tick certain boxes. It's got to be graphitic conductor. It's got to have this. Anyways, it's in our presentation. But our goal has been trying to find another pod, right? And that's what we're learning. And we people say you're missing. I say we're learning. What we've learned since going back to 2010, when we discovered the J zone, then the Triple R, and now this, is that you're always learning. You can't really learn what's underground. You can do airborne, you can do lots of it until you drill and you get down there and you see what's actually there. That's when you find out. So that's what we've been doing all winter, is trying to learn about the system, and that will get us to the point of making another discovery.
Okay, but there were 15 drill holes, I think, in the winter program. What
Oh,
do you
more
do?
than
Do you
that.
expand the
Far
number in
more.
the
Far
summertime
more.
then?
No, no, no. There's more than 15. I'll get you an
Oh,
exact number, but I more like 50.
oh,
Um, and no, we have been nonstop drilling since last fall. Other than at Christmas time to give people a Christmas break, we drill pretty well all year long. And then you get a break in April when the snow is melting and you get these big mud. And if you work there, you have these big mud holes, and then it'll hurt your. And you have to get out of there for a couple of spring breakup. But we've been drilling constantly. We raised another 10 million here, closed it about 3 weeks ago. So we got another 10 million that will take us through the year, and we'll methodically methodically drill. So no, we've done a lot of drilling. I'll get you the exact number, because to us, there's no winter, there is no summer. It's just keep drilling.
Yeah. Denison made a big cash infusion to your company. Is that the 10 million you're referencing?
No, 10 million in private placement we just did. 15
Okay.
million was done last fall. They put in a debenture of 15 million with a debenture, and it works out to about 6-7% of the company. That was done before. That was hard money. And we have 25 million hard, 10 soft. And part of that money came from Denison, which was, and it was a nice premium. You know, the stock was in the 40s, they do it in the 50s. I'm a big fan of Denison. Obviously the Lundin family has been behind that for some time, and David Case has done an excellent job of steering it towards ISR, and they've got themselves a niche. So yeah, they're great people.
Talk to me about timeline then. If you continue to drill, in your experience, how long does it take before that's a mine, number one? And number two,
Yeah.
do you invite Denison in to do that?
Right. Well, that really depends on your results. Really, it's you
Mm.
have to have, um, in my opinion, you've got to have about 40 to 50 million pounds before you can say, okay, that's worth building a mine around. Analysts out there say we got 20 to 25. So we have to get to 50 million pounds in that area before we can say, okay, we got something there, like ISO, about 50 million pounds. Cluff Lake was 48 million pounds. So Hathor would have been around 60 million pounds. Um, it, it- you're not going to find, that used to be the standard until, Triple R came along at 150 million pounds. And then Arrow comes along, blows that out of the water, 400, 500 million. So, and they got another new zone, Next Gen does. So it's not a question of timing, it's a question of results. If you don't have enough pounds at the right grade, at the right depth, you know, by that point, and by that point, you'll get bought. We won't, if most of the time, exploration companies don't get that opportunity, and nor should they, because that's not their expertise. That's what makes this recent announcement of Paladin so exciting, is that Paladin is putting a mine that has gone into production before, and is putting another, and will have the expertise that maybe that people at FCU didn't completely have. They got some good people there with Gary and Ross, but Paladin brings a whole team in. So, eventually, mining companies for a long time have advocated drilling exploration. They goes back to the the 80s, where they said, no, we're not going to explore anymore. Hardly. They do some. I mean, Orano and Chemical have obviously done some here next to the ISO project, and were successful. But most of the time, here, you exploration companies go find the uranium. When you find it, we'll buy it. This way, we have no risk. So it's not a question of when, it's a question of results, that you have to have so many pounds at a certain grade. And then, well, example, the takeover we're just seeing right now, nobody expected, I don't think, really FCU to put that in production. I didn't. I was the CEO and founder of the company. We always knew we find it, move it along far as you can, and until somebody has belief that you've got a mine, they buy you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we wish you continued success then with F3.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're very excited. In real estate, it's about location, location. In junior exploration company, it's management. Ray, Sam, and previously Ross, they found J Zone, sold to Denison. Now you got Triple R, sold to Paladin. And now the third discovery is JR. So you got 35 million in the bank. We're in the Athabasca. The discovery is high grade, close to surface, and you've got Ray and Sam leading the team. And that's the key points. And I would love for someone to find me another exploration project in the world that's anything like that, and we'll go buy it. So there's a lot of reasons for investors.
Good. Dev, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.